Hi, this is the God tier PvP build used by the Hangzhou champion and is proven to be the champion build. If you haven't tried this build, you should try for this season. This build doesn't require high skill to climb PvP ladders and it is beginner friendly also. The PvP for this build is really versatile and have a lot of combo variations. The strategic sword already has an unpredictable combo by its own, and it is combined with the spear stun skill, makes you a god tier PvP players. Okay, I'll start with the skill explanations, then go to the Innerway, then go to the Mystic skill, and the PvP and PvE combo. So let's go. Let's start with the sword skill. For the sword skill, it requires a lot of the stamina because you look at your dash skill, so the cooldown is 1 second only. So this consumes stamina. And your R skill cooldown is also 1 second. The cooldown of this skill doesn't control, but it consumes a lot of the stamina. Stamina is the bottleneck. So this R charge skill charge the opponents. It requires stamina to try and error to charge the opponents. So after you charge to the opponent, make sure you have enough stamina to launch your dash skill attacks. So you charge forward to the opponents, then jump back with your dash skill, then charge to the opponent again, then jump back again until your stamina is finished. You don't have any cooldown issue, but the stamina is really the bottleneck for these combinations. This has a very good crowd control effect because your R skill apply the big counter, in your dash skill explode the big counter and temporarily stun your opponents, providing the crowd control to stun your opponents. So while you are using these two combos, your opponent has a very high chance of being stunned and they cannot move until you finish up your stamina. So before you charge to your opponent with your R skill, make sure you have enough stamina, because after you charge to your opponent, you only realize that your stamina is 0, you can do nothing. Then for the R skill, after you charge one time, you can press another time of R skill. So that means you charge, then you press R again, you can further jump towards the enemy. Because let's say if you charge first time, you might not able to reach the opponents, then you surprise jump another second time, you may jump and reach closer to your opponents. So this is a very good combo. Make sure you use the R skill, charge one time, then press the R again to further jump forwards. Then for the R skill, if you press one time, it is your heavy attack. Press one time is a heavy attack. Then if you hold down longer, one charge is a dash attack. So don't get confused between these two attacks. Then the next one is your Q skill. So this Q skill for sword is actually not quite useful. It is just to apply the big counters. You make sure you have 5 big counters. You can explode with your this special skill. So for the spear skill, the most important spear skill is your Q skill, because Q skill can stun your opponents, but there is a cooldown. So this one, it doesn't consume much of your stamina, but this one is a cooldown driven skill. So this one you need to use it often. So how to use this one? You often need to combine with your spear skill. Say if you charge to the opponents, they immediately stun your opponents. So this is the best combo. So you have to make sure that you can switch your weapon easily with your mouse scroll key. Scroll down to switch your weapons. Say if you charge your opponents, then switch to your spear, then immediately stun your opponents. So you need to keep practicing switching your weapons with your mouse key, because every time when you are in the sword, you need to immediately switch to your spear, then stun your opponents. So you need to keep these agilities and versatilities. So you need to keep switching your weapons. Then you are in the sword, charge, then switch to your spear, then stun your opponents. So you need to keep practicing these ones. Charge to your opponents, then switch to your spear, then stun your opponents. Make it as your automations. So keep training this one. This is very important to make sure you can stun your opponent in every stage, whether you are wearing your sword or you are wearing your spear. Then for your spear, R skill, charge skill is very important also. It is very good for your PVE boss fight, because this one when you hold down, it will keep swinging the spear. So this one you often find people combine with this Mystic skill. So this is called the Hawking Havoc. So this one will stun and slow down the boss. So this one often in the boss fight, you can first use this Hawking Havoc to slow down your opponent first, then continue with your spear, stun skill to stun opponents while opponents is already slowed down, your bow is already slowed down, then combine with your R skill to deliver a full swinging. So this can defeat a boss very easily and deal a lot of damage. Then this R skill sometimes is used in the PvP also, so you can stun your opponents, then use the R charge skill in buy time for you to charge out your spear skills to do these swinging attacks. So you can use in PvE and also in the PvP. So now continue with the inner way. For the inner way, there's two compulsory inner way, which is the Warrior Chance. This is a must-have for every build, because like we already mentioned many times here. So this is a must-have inner way. The second one, of course, is a Sword Horizons. It enables you to do more animations for your strategic swords. You need these crisscrossing attacks. Then the other two are very optional. And these two skills is really optional. It depends on your needs. For my case, I use the Bitter Season for my this poison counter to increase my DPS. I also use this Spiteful Bleed to increase my DPS and to produce this Weeping Blood counter. So this first combinations, Bitter Season and this Spiteful Bleed for your optionals, slot is a general use. You can use in PvP and use in PvE also. So this one is a general combo. Let's say if alternatively, if you are focused on PvP, you might need to use another two optionals in a way, which is your this evasive charge and your furry harvest. So these two you can put into your these two optional slot, substitute the Bitter Season and the Fatal Bleed with these two build. The first is the evasive charge and the second is the furry harvest. Substitute into your optionals in a way slot. So why you need this one? Because the evasive charge, it provides you some refund in the endurance when you do a perfect dodge. Because in PvP, you always do a lot of the dodge, so you need a lot of endurance. And you also need the stamina for your charge skill and your sword R skill and the dash skill. So your stamina is always the bottleneck. So you need to refund this endurance. So you need to refund this endurance for your sword skill. If you look at your tier 6 of this skill, increase the durations of your invincibilities during the dodgings by 20%, so which is a lot. So this one, because you use a lot of the dodge in the PvP, so this is very helpful in refunding some endurance. Also, it enhances your dodge. And for this furry harvest, it is very important also because you need a lot of the vitality for your mystic skill. Because when you're running out of stamina, you can only use your vitality skill. So this provides you some refund in the vitalities. After you use the skill, you have the chance to refund your vitality. So you look at this tier 6 ability, this is super OP. So after casting a mystic skills, 30% of the vitality consumed within 5 seconds will be refunded. So that means after you cast a mystic skill, you can refund the next mystic skill's vitality, which means a lot to you, especially you want to use the Dragon Head skill. Like especially in the mystic skill, there's one very powerful skill, which is the Dragon Head. So the vitality is 100. It consumes all your vitality. So you need this skill to refund part of the vitality. So this skill is very useful when your opponent is being knocked down. You can use the Dragon Head, but you need to cut the animations then for you to run away. So because this skill is very long, you always have to use the animation cut after you burn down your opponents. Then for the mystic skill, there's a lot of mandatory mystic skill. So in my case, I suggest to give up the glove stat. So the first one is the Fire Breath. This is a must-have combined with your Drunken Poet. As always, you need this for your PvP. Then also you need this Talent Strike, because after your sword or charge skill, you press out to charge again, then combine with your Talent Strike. Because Talent Strike, it charges your opponent one more time, and it's a very fast attack. You can surprise your opponents. Then the next one is your Living Thought. This one you also can charge your opponents with your vitality. So after charging, make sure you use your animation card. Then you can either switch to your stun or you can continue to attack your opponents. The next one, of course, is your Stirring Breeze. This one is a must-have. Then this one is my quest skill, so I keep for my boss fight. Then Meridian Touch also must-have. Then the next one is your Honking Harvest, which is for your boss fight. So these all are a bit of the mandatory for your this build. So you cannot run away from this mystic skill. So for your PVE rotations, as mentioned just now, you can first start with your this Honking Harvest to slow down your boss first. So after showdowns, apply your spear stun skill to stun your opponents. So stun skill, then after stun your opponents, use your spear charge skill to finish the swinging. So after finishing the swinging, you can switch to your spear dash skill or switch to your sword to continue with this skill or dash skill, whatever you have, to apply the big counter. So the PVE is very straightforward, or you can use your fire breath combined with your drunken poise. Then for the PvP, your main combo, your main massive deadly attack will be your R skill and dash skill combinations. So you need to keep switching between your R charge forward, then run backward with your dash skill, then use the R charge forward again, then run backwards to consume all your stamina to deliver a very long attack and power control and stun your opponents. So this will be your main damage while apply the big counters and explode the big explode the big counter with your dash skill. Then another combo is that you dash to the opponent with your sword R skill, then immediately switch to your spear to stun your opponents. And after you stun the opponents, then make sure you use this fire breath and also your drunken poet. So this is a very popular combo. So okay, because the PvP is a super long topic, I already made another video for the full PvP guide. So make sure you watch this one. So there's a lot of the guide step by step on how to deliver the PvP for this build. I also include a lot of combo for this PvP builds into this second video. Make sure you watch this one. So there's a lot of the combination, like you can charge your opponents, then further charge another time, use a talent strike. Or you can charge your opponents, use a parry skill to cheat your opponents. So you need to make sure your vitality and your stamina is balanced throughout the fight. So that's all for the videos. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out this one, the PvP guide for this strategic sword and nameless spirit. I put it here in the description below. So that's all. Thank you. Thanks for your support and bye bye.